I don't know what is more embarrassing, the wrestling product or the people we have to be associated with. Something is going on within the wrestling community. I've made a touch on one specific subject involving the wrestling community before, and that were all the insane perverts who let their quote unquote crushes become more like obsessions. But nowadays, after what happened with Naomi and Jim Ross, I'm legitimately disgusted to be a part of the wrestling community because of how wrestling fans have become. For those who don't know what happened, I'll catch you up quickly to speed with both situations. With Naomi, we all know she is married to professional wrestler Jimmy Uso. And not too long ago, he was arrested for the third or fourth time for a DUI. Some guy on Twitter decided to post that he blames Naomi for his behavior and saying that her being around just in his life or whoever the hell is the reason why he is constantly getting into legal trouble. I do not understand how this person came up with this assumption. We don't know what's going on inside of Jimmy Uso's head. We don't know what his motivation is to drink. Maybe if he gets rehab someday and actually confronts his demons, we'll be able to understand why he has the need to drink, let alone drink and drive, which is a very irresponsible move on his part. But to say that it is Naomi's fault without any kind of evidence to prove that that is its motivation to drink, as well as to drink while behind the wheel of a motorized vehicle, is absolutely barbaric. And now it has gotten to the point where Naomi left Twitter. This harassment and cyberbullying being aimed at her is absolutely uncalled for. 100%. What makes people think that Naomi has anything to do with this? Oh, that's right, she doesn't. She did not tell Jimmy, here, have some alcohol, get behind the wheel of a car once again. This is all his fault and his fault only. He's the one that made that decision, and he's the one that got arrested because of this. Stop redirecting blame. Naomi had nothing to do with this, and there is no reason why she should have been harassed by anybody on social media. Now let me also get to the other point before I then go on this little tirade of my own. As we all know, Jim Ross, quite arguably the greatest announcer slash play-by-play guy in wrestling history, whether it be all-time or within our generation, depends on who you ask, revealed not too long ago that because of his little mistake that he made on AEW, where he accidentally said WWE Dynamite instead of AEW, there were fans that were bringing up health conditions and even saying that they think he should die following his mistake. Let me say this right here and right now. For anybody out there who may be listening to this, if you have ever, for any stupid reason, told somebody in the wrestling business that they should freaking die, you should no longer be allowed to be considered a wrestling fan. Because that is one of the dumbest freaking responses you can give. I can understand making some jokes saying like, oh, JR screwed up, but to tell him that he should die, or possibly wishing for him to lose his job or anything like that just because he made a mistake on commentary, is absolutely inexcusable. So many, like, we're living in a society today where you see so many cases on whether it's social media through posts or even on video of some employee making a mistake at their job and somebody freaking out saying that that person should be fired for making a mistake. For anybody who says that for any reason, let me ask you something. Should you be fired if you make a mistake at your job? Because if not, then shut your damn mouths. I am so sick of this whole culture where people keep freaking out and saying, so-and-so should be fired just because they make a mistake at their job. No employee is perfect 100% of the time. I can freaking guarantee that your asses are not perfect either when you're at your job. I'm willing to bet that y'all out there that are constantly going around freaking out at people saying, you should be fired just because an employee makes a mistake, I'm willing to bet that you are not 100% perfect at your job. Because based on your logic, if you ever make a mistake, you should lose your job. Do you want that? No. Then don't be freaking wishing that on others. Jim Ross should not be subjected to being freaking told he should be unemployed or even dead because of a mistake. I wouldn't care if JR said WCW Dynamite or ECW Dynamite or freaking CZW Dynamite. JR makes mistakes. Of course he's going to be in the habit of accidentally blurting out WWE. He was with the company for 25 years? The man was accustomed to saying WWE. That was in it because that was the company he was with for the longest time of his career. So of course, there are times where he's going to accidentally blurt out the wrong company. And plus, how often do you hear freaking WWE being mentioned on AEW television anyway? So anybody out there who has the audacity to tell JR that he should either be unemployed because of his freaking mistake, whether it be he quits or gets fired, or wishing death upon him, y'all really need to stop taking wrestling so seriously. Because to wish death on somebody for something like that is absolutely retarded. There is absolutely no excuse for JR to be receiving any threats like this of any kind. Like I said, I don't care what he freaking said. He made a mistake. Get over yourselves. Like I said, as far as I'm concerned, Jim Ross is the greatest announcer in wrestling history. He gave us some of the most iconic calls in WWE history, with Mankind getting thrown off Hell in a Cell. One of them that I personally love when Stone Cold won the Royal Rumble in '98. Stone Cold is going to WrestleMania. You know, that call, and plenty of others. Jim Ross has earned the respect that he has gotten by the fans, and anybody who freaking takes his call so seriously that you wish death upon him, do us all a favor. Delete your social media and leave until you can freaking think properly. Think before you type. Because remember, folks, we're in a day and age where what you say on social media can be used against you if you're not careful. Because you hear stories all the time of people getting fired from their jobs or having something involved in their life ruined because of a social media post because they said something they really shouldn't have. Let me give you an example of where a social media post got somebody fired. I'm sure you all heard of the whole Amanda Todd situation from a handful of years ago. There was some guy on Facebook, according to record, that was mocking Amanda Todd's death, but because of his post, his employers were actually notified about this, and he was fired for it. Do you want to risk being in that kind of spot? Because if not, think before you type. Because there's absolutely no reason for any wrestlers to be subjected to this kind of serious harassment. Naomi should not have been subjected to harassment to the point where she had left Twitter, and Jim Ross should never be subjected to death threats. Because unfortunately we're in the day and age where people are not using their heads and they think that sending somebody death threats is absolutely justified. Unless the person that you're sending death threats to is some kind of criminal that deserve the death penalty, like if they're a freaking threat to children or they're terrorists or something like that, then don't be wishing death on these people. Because you're not using your brains and there is no logical reason to wish death on somebody for something so pointless. Oh no, he made a mistake, how dare he? He needs to die and we need perfect people in this world. Y'all are freaking idiots! I legitimately hate social media because of what people have become because of this. I don't know if it's because y'all have no jobs or you're sitting there with thumbs up your asses or you got nothing to do, but something in the air has been going on to the point where people are harassing and wishing death on people who make mistakes. Or because somebody else did something and it's like, oh, you're associated, you're bad too. No! Y'all were making hashtag Naomi deserves better freaking trend months ago just because she was freaking not losing matches against freaking Lacey Evans for some reason. Then y'all were saying hashtag Naomi deserves better. You know when she really deserves that kind of hashtag trending? Right now. And it's not in terms of her wrestling career, it's in terms of her treatment from the wrestling fans on the internet. Because again, she has nothing to do with the treatment what Jimmy Uso went through. Jim Ross should not get death threats for his mistake. For anybody, like I said, that's listening to this, if you, for any reason, have just gone after somebody in wrestling and told them that you wish death upon them or anything, you need to leave social media. delete your accounts, and do not come back unless you have proven that you can use your brain. Because this type of crap is unacceptable. I am embarrassed to even be associated with the community because of people like this. I'm embarrassed to be called a wrestling fan. Not because the wrestling product sucks, it's because of the people in the community. Y'all have ruined the wrestling community with this kind of behavior. No wrestler should be subjected to this shit in this community of any kind unless they're a legit criminal who have committed a legitimate offense that involves like having something on their record, like something involving sex or murder or any of that shit. If they have not done that, stop wishing death upon them because you look fucking retarded when you freaking wish death on somebody for no goddamn reason. And do not freaking harass somebody just because of who they're associated with, because somebody else had irresponsible actions. Y'all are toxic as hell, and you make freaking social media less fun with your shit. Anyway, that is going to conclude it for today's episode. I don't care that I did not do an intro. I needed to talk about this, and I don't give a fuck who I piss off. Because this is absolutely bullshit. I don't know what's worse. The wrestling fans are absolute creeps, or the side that freaking behave like this that I just mentioned in this episode. Let me know what you all thought in the comment section below. Hopefully you are thinking clearly while listening to this instead of freaking joining on the whole mob mentality of saying, death, 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 oh, you suck, and all that shit. Grow up, people. Seriously. You'll be doing the world a favor when you do so. Thanks for listening, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out. Good day, everybody.